Still continuing my lead up to the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, so let's talk about the movie that got me fully engaged in the Hunger Games universe. Okay, so the Hunger Games, Catching Fire. And once again, spoiler-filled video, I will be going into this movie in complete detail, so you have been warned. So the Hunger Games Catching Fire is a sequel to the original Hunger Games, and we get to see Katniss living in riches. She and Peeta both won the previous Hunger Games, so they get better houses, food, publicity. They're like celebrities right now. But because of her act of defiance in the last one, President Snow's all, well, the people are kind of influenced and may lead to a revolution, so let's kill her, and the whole idea of hope. And for him to achieve that, he grabs recent victors from every district and places them all in one arena for the 75th Hunger Games. So now Katniss and Peeta have to win again and keep the idea of revolution alive. When Catching Fire was announced that it's getting a November release, I was like, holy shit, they actually have some huge confidence in this movie. Usually the month of November is the time of great winter films, usually. But Catching Fire blew me away in every aspect. I saw this movie like 4 times in theaters. Jennifer Lawrence once again kills it as Katniss Everdeen, as there's more layers added to her character. She's having like post-traumatic stress from the Hunger Games, and she's seeing people who she's killed, and she wakes up scared every night, and it's kind of sad because you don't look at her as a girl who's from District 12, you look at her as a survivor who's damaged. And Josh Hutcherson as Peeta was a better character in this one, that's for sure. He is also a survivor just like Katniss, but Katniss doesn't feel the same way about him because, you know, she's still putting on an act. And you know what I said about the directing in the last one? It was all shaky, you didn't know what was going on, but in Catching Fire, that's all gone. It's now directed by Francis Lawrence, and since he's known as a music video director, you gotta have a unique type of direction. And he definitely shows that. Thankfully, there's no more shaky cams. Especially the script in this movie, you're seeing every character's performance and you're thinking, this is some really great acting. Woody Harrelson as Haymitch plays a much more significant part, and Elizabeth Banks as Effie Trinket, you can tell she's having so much fun with her character. And even gold eyeliner Lenny Kravitz as Cinna was a much more relevant part in Katniss's point of view and is actually a really great actor in this movie. The costumes in this movie, a whole lot better. The Capitol Guards look much more threatening since you like can't see their face. The special effects improved by a lot. The city of Panem looked better than ever. From start to finish, I was fully engaged in Catching Fire. It showed what every sequel should do for the original, which is to be a totally awesome kick-ass movie. Which in terms of Katniss and Peeta's relationship, it actually really intrigued me since it sort of kind of portrayed a celebrity's love life. And it really makes you think, what if celebrities actually put on faces to convince the people of the world that they are in love, but off camera they're like, oh hey, good job, and then they shake hands? If it's not on camera, it doesn't happen, it doesn't exist. You see them kissing on camera, but once the camera shuts off, Peeta's all like, hey, nice acting. Almost thought that kiss was real. You guys remember that scene? Yeah, that shit sucks. The scene makes it believable how celebrities may exactly do the same thing behind camera. And what's cool about this movie is that in the beginning, Katniss meets up with President Snow face to face. I love stuff like that, when the main hero meets up with the main villain, where the villain is all like, either you join me or die. That's President Snow in this movie. And he tells her, the act that you did with the berries was an act of defiance and it may lead to a revolution, and I don't want my empire to fall down because of a stupid little girl. So what I want you to do from now on is not just convince Panem, but convince me that you and Peeta are absolutely madly in love. Because if he's convinced, all of Panem is convinced. But if you don't do that, you should imagine thousands upon thousands of your people dead. So basically, yes, I will kill you if you don't do what I say. And he has a super duper holographic television. He turns it towards Katniss and it shows her and Gale kissing. It's like, damn, she's under high surveillance and President Snow is a huge dick in this movie. But since Katniss and Peeta are celebrities, they go on tour to show people that they're doing okay in their relationship and that it's only getting stronger. But not only that, they're giving eulogies to the tributes of the previous Hunger Games. You see them go into all the districts, and some of them, they really like Katniss, and for the few of them, they don't like her because, you know, she killed a couple people. And you can't really blame them, because if my brother went to the Hunger Games and he was killed by Katniss Everdeen, I'd be like, screw that bitch. But certain districts, such as District 11, you see a couple of civilians throwing up the peace sign in the Capitol. They're like, nah, we don't like that one bit. Especially the scene with the old man in District 11. You see the Capitol Guards grab him and then shoot him right in the back of the head in front of Katniss. And it's like, holy crap, Katniss is gonna bring a lot of death to people, and that's what she does. And Katniss is begging Haymitch, saying, please, just let us get through this trip. And Haymitch is like, just to let you know that you're never gonna get off this trip. Every year, they will broadcast broadcast your personal life, and then it makes people forget about the real problems that are going on right now. And you can argue these are real world problems that are happening today. But Katniss and Peeta know that they need a bigger punch for the audience, and what better way to do that is to announce a fake marriage. And everybody knows if huge celebrities announce something that big, the preparation for it is just And because of that, President Snow and new game maker Plutarch Heavensbee, performed by Philip Seymour Hoffman, take advantage of that situation. And Heavensbee points out the day of the wedding is what really matters here. Who's really gonna be there, the preparations, the cake, and so on. Let's show the people that she is one of us, and that whole idea of hope will now be turned into fear. Let her image be destroyed, that way the people will do your dirty work. And President Snow's like, I like it, that's genius. And even I was like, I like it, that's genius. And by that I mean the script, because at this point this movie is like a game of chess, but in movie form. Katniss is looked at as a symbol of hope in this movie, as she's seen riots going on the TV screens and there's Mockingjay symbols popping up everywhere. She sees that there's a revolution going on, and even Gale tells her that you gave them an opportunity for them to fight back. And it's understandable that she doesn't want to be that symbol of hope, because she knows that there's gonna be pain and suffering to come along with it. And Catching Fire really shows that there's so much going on with the story that it's never really about the Hunger Games. Yes, the Hunger Games are there, but it is used to bring up certain matters such as power to the people, revolution, most importantly, hope. Which is pretty weird, because I hear the story gets worse as it progresses. You know, how would I know? I never really read the books. Like the first Hunger Games book, that was like the best of the trilogy, and Mockingjay was a huge disappointment for reading fans all around. But I think it's opposite when it comes to the movies, because if someone is saying that Catching Fire is just an okay book, at least they have an amazing movie to fall back on. But when it gets to the actual 75th Hunger Games, that's when things completely change for Katniss, Peeta, and even all the other victors. Since Snow sees Katniss standing up to the Capitol Guard, he's like, she thinks she's invincible, and I don't want the other victors to think that also. And Philip Seymour Hoffmansby is all, well, there's a little thing that us game masters like to call a wrinkle. Now, in the Hunger Games universe, every 25 years, they come across an event called a quarter quell, which is basically the same Hunger Games, but there's a little special twist with it. But in this quarter quell, they grab every remaining victor from every district and turn it into the Hunger Games All-Stars. And when Snow announces that, you see the horror on Katniss's face, like, I have to go through this shit again? Primrose, come here. You're taking my spot. Wait, you can't? Damn it! And they both go through the same thing they did in the last one. You know, ceremonies, sponsorships, getting people to like you. And that is where they meet Finnick, played by Sam Claflin, and who's basically the youngest victor ever, and he's sort of like Aquaman. You see him tossing his trident at people, killing them instantly, and you're like, yeah, this kid makes Aquaman not look like a pussy. Sam Claflin does great in the movie, but he plays a bigger part later on. Jenna Malone's character, Joanna, was cool too. She's sort of like this crazy bitch. I would not want to be in a room alone with her. She might rip my spine out or something. Or stripped down to nothing, like in the elevator scene with Haymitch, Peeta, and Katniss. Katniss is all like, rest assured, I will not make that face if that ever happened to me. And when they start the Hunger Games, it's sort of on a bad note. And during the broadcast, Katniss is showing off her dress, she's spinning around, it all burns down, it actually turns out to be a Mockingjay dress, all thanks to Cinna. He basically says, fuck you, President Snow, and you see Snow, he's getting pissed in his calm, collective manner. And right before Katniss gets sent up to the games, guards come in and beat the living shit out of Cinna. Possibly he's dead, because that's the last time you ever see him in this movie. And I have to tell you guys, that is probably the best scene in Catching Fire. Just the way it was shot, what was happening, the music, it was surely a memorable moment. But you have to admit, if Cinna does something that ballsy, don't you think he would say like, oh yeah, I'm out of here? I mean, wouldn't you do the same thing if you told the supreme leader of the world to kiss your ass? You would do that, I know you would. And now the game starts, Katniss and Peeta team up with Finnick and Joanna to survive. And this Hunger Games really develops on Katniss and Peeta's relationship, especially when they're by themselves at the beach. Not gonna lie, this scene really tugged my heartstrings. It's rare when movies make me go like, aww. Because now it's not an act for Katniss anymore. She truly cares about Peeta. She really needs him. Don't lie, the beach scene made you tear up too. So it's the end of the games, most of the victors are dead, and this is like the final moment. Katniss and Peeta get split up because the team devises a plan where they use this huge electric charge to kill the remaining victors at once. But as they get split up, Katniss gets betrayed in a way to sort of save her, because the victors who are actually trying to kill her, they don't do that. She goes back to find the copper wire that is going to be used for the charge charge and she attaches it to her arrow. And Finnick comes up and he sees that Katniss is about to shoot him. And President Snow, he's all looking at the cameras. He's like, come on Katniss, shoot Aquaman. But instead, Katniss shoots the arrow in the sky and uses the electric charge for the arena to completely collapse. And you see the lights go out on President Snow and he's like, yep. That just happened. Katniss soon wakes up in a capital ship and she goes into a room with Finnick, Haymitch, and Heavensbee. And Heavensbee says, you're our mission from the very beginning. You are the Mockingjay and we are heading down to District 13 right now. And Haymitch mentions to Katniss, yeah, they kinda got Peeta and Joanna. They're at the capital right now. And Katniss gets so pissed at him to the point where Haymitch had no choice but to knock her ass out. And I have to admit, this scene was kind of a twist for me because I didn't know that Philip Seymour Hoffman was gonna end up being a good guy. And Katniss wakes up with Gale right beside her and he tells her, yeah, District 12 is all gone. The Capitol bombed it to shit. So you see her look up into the camera and you see her face just full of rage and then boom, end credits. And I remember that scene, my theater was like, you gotta be shitting me. That was a terrible ending. Now for me, I loved it. That is what a cliffhanger should do. Have the audience hooked and have them asking many questions, which is why people are gonna go see the next movie. Now for The Hunger Games Catching Fire, I loved about every aspect of this movie. Jennifer Lawrence kills it again and so does the rest of the cast. The special effects, the costumes, and even the directing had huge improvements. The script was cleverly written and had a couple twists where I didn't even see coming. It steps it up on how every sequel should. And bear with me on this one, I really look at The Hunger Games Catching Fire as the Empire Strikes Back of Hunger Games movies. And that is saying a lot because it is one of my favorite movies of 2013, easily being on my top 3 because The Hunger Games Catching Fire is absolutely, positively legendary. So light up those fireworks. Pew 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 pew. Oh, look at the fireworks. Just hope the new one doesn't pull a Return of the Jedi. It's still great though, but it's not as good as the second one. I have really high expectations for Mockingjay. Have you guys seen The Hunger Games Catching Fire? What do you guys think about it? Leave a comment below. And as always, you can keep in contact with me through Facebook and Twitter, but in the meantime, I have to get going.